everyone, so I'm doing my weekly wrap up for last week. Last week was, let me tell you. So Monday, I get a call from the nurse's office that my youngest child is sick. She's running a fever, and of course I have to take her out because of the whole, pandemic and everything, and COVID. So I had to take her out, and we went and got her tested, and she was negative. So didn't have to worry about there, but she did have a fever. She wasn't feeling good. So she basically didn't make it into school Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday, I get a call from, after I dropped off the paperwork to show that my child was negative, I get a call from the nurse's office saying that my eldest isn't feeling good. So I was like, okay. So I had to go and pick up some things at the store, so I had her with me. She unfortunately got sick in one of the aisles and, got rid of her lunch, I would say. And I was just like, not only embarrassed, but, she couldn't help it, But I was just like, oh, great. Now she's, really not feeling good. So she was out Thursday and Friday. And then Thursday night, I ended up getting sick. And even my throat is still bothering me. I need to actually go over to urgent care Monday to see if maybe I have some type of strep throat or something like that. Possibly. Or could be something else. You never know. But I was like, oh, great. And so, of course, when I'm sick, what do? I lay in bed, or I lay up, propped up in a chair, and I read. So I ended up reading 4 books last week. So the first one I ended up reading was Halloween Boo. This is by Sarah Spade. And this is, it says Holiday Hunk number 1. So this is a novella. And so I gave this 3.5 stars. We have the characters of Danny and Zach. So it said, so Danny has moved to Salem, Massachusetts, and she's living alone in an apartment that starts to have weird things happen shortly after she moves in. She figures out the apartment is haunted and decides to call her ghost Casper. Zach doesn't know why he's dead. He doesn't remember how he died or anything like that. He doesn't even know why he can't leave the apartment. He's stuck there. And so once Danny moves in and he sees her for months, he basically starts to fall in love with her. And so this this book definitely had a few movie references to it. So Halloween night comes, and he becomes mortal, where she can see him. And so he decides, hey, if I'm mortal, this is going to be the day that I'm going to express my feelings to her and see where it goes, And so this was a cute novella. There definitely was a few movie references to it, definitely Hocus Pocus, because you have the characters. Her name is Danny. His name is Zach, even though in the Hocus Pocus movie, his name was Thackeray, not Zachary. I'm pretty sure it was Thackeray. It was old school, Thad, I think it was, It was a Thad, but it was Thackeray. So, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And she's working on an account, and the account is Sanderson, as the Sanderson sisters. And then one of her co-workers' name is Allison. And there was an Allison in Hocus Pocus. One of her friends is Max, which, was Danny's brother in Hocus Pocus. But in here, it's that's her friend. Also, definitely Casper references, because, she calls the ghost Casper. And also, I would say this movie reminds me of Just Like Heaven with Reese Witherspoon. That's about all I'll let you know about that right there. If you've seen the movie, then you pretty much know what happens. So, like I said, I did like the movie. Not the movie. I did like the book. I did like the book. It was, it was a cute story for, like, spooky Halloween type of, season. It was a little lacking, I'll just say that. I felt it was a bit lacking. There was something else I was thinking of. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was a little lacking. He kind of like fell for her, like, I felt like way too quickly, like, especially like when he was human, he kind of like, or alive, where she can physically touch him and see him. He went and expressed his feelings to her, and it was kind of like a, whoa, okay, you love me, and like, I barely know you. So that was a little bit too quick. I think if it would have been like, maybe she's able to see him, and they saw each other for months, and maybe they developed this connection, but they couldn't touch, and then it wasn't maybe until Halloween that he was able to touch her, kind of thing. That probably would have been better. I would have liked that angle better, to where it's like, she doesn't know what he looks like. She just knows that somebody is in her house, or in her apartment. And so I think I would have liked it better if it would have been another aspect to it rather than this. So that's why I ultimately gave it like 3.5 stars. So the next book I ended up reading, this is another novella. So we got Lord Dashwood Missed Out by Tessa Dare. This is a Spindle Cove novella. And it says that this is a part of 4.5 in this Spindle Cove series. So the characters are Eleonora and Dash. I said it was a cute novella. Eleanor wrote a letter that got popular about Dash and how he missed out on a good thing, mainly a relationship with her. And I kind of was like, girl, that's very like narcissistic of you. Like, oh, he missed out. And it's like, maybe he wasn't into you. So was that. So she gets into a coach like years later, and surprisingly Dash is the other occupant of the coach. They become stranded, and a fork's proximity has them admit their feelings. I said I did like the story, but it really could have done without like the secondary characters in the story, because all of a sudden it go into another chapter, and it was about this particular character who was obviously in a previous book, and I was like, I don't care. I'll read about his story when I go back to the Spindle Cove series, I'll read about his story. I really don't care about his story right now. I care about these characters right here. So kind of took away from the story a bit, because I was like, I don't care what this other dude's doing. I care about what these characters are doing. So I think if it would have had less secondary characters in it on their perspective, then it would have been better for me. Dual perspectives are fine. Like, if it's his perspective on one chapter, her perspective on the other, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when it has like a third or fourth perspective in the book, I'm like, it's just too much. It takes away from the original characters. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about their love story. Who cares about these other characters, So yeah, that took a little bit away from me, and that's why I ultimately had given it a 3. So the next book I ended up reading is Prison Planet Barbarian by Ruby Dixon. Now this one you can say is definitely within the realm of the Ice Planet Barbarians, because there is a book, I think it was Kate, and I can't remember who the male character was, but I think it was Kate. They end up finding these other types of people where it was like clearly another blue alien with a human woman. And so this is their story. So you have the characters of Chloe and Jatari. So I said, I really enjoyed this one. I said, but there is a content warning for talk of sexual assault, prostitution, physical violence, murder, because it is set in a prison, so that's not a very nice place to be in. So I said Chloe is kidnapped from Earth by aliens and is going to be someone's plaything when she accidentally kills these beings who are guarding her, and she is sent to prison to basically disappear because humans are illegal to own. Someone who is obviously higher up in their galaxy, whatever it is, had purchased her illegally to be his plaything. I guess we are considered Class D, whatever that is, where humans are basically too stupid to be brought up into space with all the other alien creatures. So they kind of just leave us alone because they're like, well, you know, they're too primitive, you know, they're not enough like advanced and all that stuff. So they pretty much leave us alone. We're supposed to be more of a protected class, like leave them alone. And unfortunately, some are like, no, we're going to take them anyway. We're going to just steal them because you know how it is with, like, you know, criminals, even in galaxies. They're like, we don't care if they're, you know, illegal. We're going to steal them anyway. So, so she ends up being put in that prison, and it is brutal. It is a brutal prison. Not the kind of prison you want to be in. You know, now I guess you'd say if Star-Lord was in there from like Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to be right here because I want to be next to Star-Lord. Sure. You know, I probably wouldn't mind being, you know, next to him, or even like Gamora. She kicks butt. I'm sidling up next to Gamora because she will kick your butt. So yes, yeah, that or Nebula, that'd be perfect too. You know, all three of them would be great. So Jatari is basically another kind of blue alien with horns. He's been in the prison for about a year now, and he's kind of really like not cared whether or not he escaped or not. You know, he really didn't care. So when he sees Chloe, he has an automatic like connection to her, like, this is my mate. This is my mate. This is the person I want to be with and have babies with and all that stuff. And he sees her through the glass and he's kind of like smitten with her, instantly smitten with her. And she kind of looks at him like, wow, look at this blue alien with horns, kind of like, you know, oh, she's intrigued by him. She doesn't know what it is, but he doesn't like look at her like she's a piece of meat, you know. He looks at her with like, you know, oh, you know, he looks at her more than just a sexual object kind of thing, you know. So I liked that aspect to it. So I said I liked Chloe. She was a strong female character, but definitely was out of her element, which is like understandable. I'd be out of my element too if I was up there, you know. When it came to dealing with the different alien species, Jatari was a sweetheart, and he protected her from like being assaulted by the other inmates or like any of the guards and stuff like that, because the guards would just openly take favors from the female inmates. They'd be like, okay, we're going to do this, and they'd kind of give them maybe extra snacks and things like that. And I'm just like, that's some messed up stuff right there. But yeah, for her, she was like, I'm not gonna do that. So it was good that, you know, Jatari ended up protecting her, because she definitely would have got, you know, brutally dealt with in a way that you don't want to be dealt with. So I really enjoyed that one. He was like very protective of her, and then like, you know, doing other things to help protect her. So I really enjoyed that one. Then the next book, the last book I ended up reading right now is, I ended up reading The Bombshell Effect by Karla Sorensen. This is the Washington Wolves #1. So it's a football story. And so we have the characters of Allie and Luke. And I said Allie becomes Luke's neighbor. They start off on the wrong foot and end up not liking each other. Then he finds out that she's now owner of the football team he plays for, and he's the quarterback. I can understand Luke's reasoning, because he is, you know, it's kind of like once bitten, twice shy kind of thing. He's been burned in the past before with like when it comes to the media harassing him and, you know, basically what you would call jersey chasers. I don't know, is that what you call for football groupies? It's like jersey chasers. I know hockey, it's puck bunnies, but I think it might be jersey chasers for football. I'm not sure. But she definitely was more of a groupie, where once she got pregnant with his kid, she was like, oh, give me money, 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 you know? Doesn't look good for us as females when you see women do stuff like that. Those are the types of women I don't like. The ones that want to live off a man and expect a man to take care of them. No. This is 2021, honeys. You don't need to do that. You want equal pay and to be equal to a man, then stop trying to rob him. So there's that. So I said the book was okay. It was boring a lot, and I thought the intimate scenes were like very short and like lacked any kind of depth to them. Also, I felt like the intimate scenes were less intimate. They were like less about making love and more about effing, you know? And I just really didn't see like the development to like hate, you know, from like them hating each other, because they went from like not really liking each other to like boning and then it was like, and now they love each other at the end. I didn't buy it, you know? I didn't really like these characters. I didn't really care for these characters. So it really just lacked for me. And so the other thing I would say that kind of irritated me about this author was that it was the constant bringing up of like their bodies and what they looked like. Like she was like a sexy bombshell. Help. You know, just like the title is, the Bombshell Effect. You know, she's like the sexy, statuesque, you know, bombshell woman, where she's like sexy looking, you know, she's thin, she's beautiful, she looks like Barbie, you know, can't identify with her at all, you know. And then, you know, she also has money. She's come from money. Her mother left her money. So, I mean, she really never had to suffer anything. I mean, her dad didn't spend enough time with her. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks that your dad really didn't spend enough time with you. But you have a lot more privilege than a lot of people do, you know, a lot more privilege. And so I was kind of like, I really don't have any sympathy for this woman. And there were times that I was like, you know, I kind of feel bad, you know, for her a little bit, but most times I was like, okay, you know, stop dwelling on the past is the past. And this is the part, people keep reminiscing about the past, like it's going to change. Nothing's going to change with the past. The whole point is you learn from the past to make better decisions in the future and focus on your present. So, I mean, it's just, you know, this here, like I said, it lacked for me. And then, like I said, it was, she kept like, oh, he's so hot. He's got this great body and his tattoos. And I'm like, how many times are you going to tell us that this guy has a hot body and tattoos? We know this. You've already told us this at the beginning, and then you keep repeating it. And so I'm like, yeah. So that's why I ended up giving it like a 3.5, because I was just like, there were things in there that I just felt were annoying. There were annoyances. So, yeah, that one there was like, And I don't know if I want to continue on with any other books by that author. I don't know. I may one day, but I don't know. We'll see. So right now I'm currently reading The Grumpy Player Next Door. So this is, I think, book 3 in some type of, you know, Copper Valley Fireballs. I don't know. It sounded like a good one. I didn't want to delve into like the first book in the series. So I'm hoping this one here, I'm not missing anything. I like going into a series sometimes where it's like book 2 or book 3, and then I don't have to read the previous novels to understand what's going on. So hopefully it's the same thing with this one here. So this is by Pippa Grant. It gets about 4.41 ratings on Goodreads. And so it's another kind of like yeah, enemies to lovers, sports, grumpy sunshine, neighbor romance. So I'll see how it goes. I keep seeing Pippa Grant on my Twitter, not Twitter, I fucking hate Twitter, on my TikTok. I do like her TikTok. She's funny. I do find like her humor. So I'm hoping that I like her books, because if I do, then I will definitely pick up more books by the author. So yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be safe out there. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.